Hello, this is Janet Michael. In addition to hosting The Valley Today each weekday at noon on the River 95.3, I also produce podcasts, and I'm excited to introduce you to a new podcast series in partnership with Lord Fairfax Community College. Having provided higher education and career training for the past half-century, LFCC is tightly interwoven into the fabric of the Northern Shenandoah Valley and Piedmont regions. Join me every week for conversations with current and former students to hear their funny and inspiring stories as we learn about their journey to higher education, the role that LFCC has played, where they are now, and where they plan to go. We'll also talk to current and former professors about their experiences and best memories of LFCC over the past 50 years. Get every single episode as they're released on our website at theriver953.com under the podcast tab, or you can subscribe for free in Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, on Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search for LFCC Stories. Hello and welcome to The Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Monday. As you are listening to the show today, we have pre-recorded our conversation with Andrea Cosans. She is the director at the Winchester Frederick County C-CAP. She is a newbie to the show. I am shocked that she is a newbie to the show, but Andrea, better late than never. I am really glad we were able to work out for you to come and chat with me.
Thank you. I'm very happy and excited to be here, and I'm a newbie because I'm a newbie to CCAP. I've been here since December, and exciting things are happening, and I'm really, really excited about the organization.
I knew that you had not been there for very long. It never clicked in my head until just now that you came on board in the middle of the pandemic.
Yes. I was looking for a new job and CCAP called, and here I am, and I'm very, very grateful and happy to be here.
You jumped in with both feet and now you're up to your elbows.
Yeah, something like that. Some days it feels like my neck.
So tell me a little bit about Winchester Frederick County C-CAP. Who are you? What kinds of services do you offer to the community?
So we're an agency that helps with food insecurity, clothing insecurity, and financial insecurity. That's pretty much the three arms of CCAP. People come to us because we have a food pantry that's open Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 10 to 1. If they need help with bills or rent, mortgage, we're open Monday through Friday from 10 to 1. And we have a very cool, unique boutique clothing house that's open Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 9 to 11:30. And we try and help people who are just at that kind of level of not making it. And our help keeps them from being homeless. And
I talk a lot with Elise from United Way of Northern Shenandoah Valley about the Alice population. And my guess is that's probably the bulk of the people that you're serving.
Yes, that is very much so. We have a small homeless program in which we provide tents, sleeping bags, tarps when they get out of the Watts temporary shelter. We provide food for them. They can come and anyone can come and get a daily meal from us, which is sandwich, chips, that kind of thing.
Now, how have you had to change how you're doling out these services during the pandemic? Are you still open for walk-ins? Have you had to make modifications there?
Well, we are open for walk-ins. Nobody but our volunteers are allowed to come into the building. We meet the client at the door. So for example, the clothing house has become very, very creative. They ask a questionnaire of likes, dislikes, of styles, sizes, and then they haul out about 4 or 5 outfits and work with the people to come up with outfits. And it's worked very well. If you need help with finances, we take your bill, we pay it, we give you back your bill. So I cannot wait until we're able to open and figure out an opening plan, because I think then we'll provide better services. My fondest hope is to get partner agencies such as Sinclair Medical Clinic, United Way, social services in to meet with our clients when they come in and take them to the next level. So
Now,
that
I'll give a little bit of background to my listeners. Many of them know that I serve on the board for United Way. And this year I was a panel chair for the distribution process. And you were on my list of, or CCAP was on my list of agencies that we were reviewing. So I got to come out a few weeks ago and do a site visit of all of the things that you offer. You mentioned the clothing house. It is the coolest thing ever. And I love the fact that now your volunteers have kind of become personal shoppers.
Yes, they were always personal shoppers. My understanding, because I've only been here post-pandemic, is that 2 or 3 clients would be allowed in the house, or 2 or 3 clients would be allowed in the food pantry, and they'd have a personal shopper to help them make healthy choices or the right clothing, and to be there to set limits on, you can't have the whole house,
And it's a
So
huge house with rooms and rooms and rooms full of clothing. And we're talking toddler clothing, baby clothing, women's clothing, men's clothing, anything and everything that you need. There's a room for that in that clothing house.
diapers, wipes, lotion. I just realized from one of our partners, Red Wagon Ministry, that diapers are the 4th largest expense after housing, food, and utilities. And so by providing diapers free of charge, and everything at CCAP is free of charge, we're helping people manage their monthly budget and alleviate some stress. And that's what we're all about.
Give me some numbers. Give me kind of paint a picture, a statistical picture for me about the numbers of people that you've been serving, at least since the beginning of the year.
So the first quarter of the year, the food pantry served 626 households, which were unduplicated, and 1,943 individuals, which were unduplicated. We gave out $79,391 in aid. We have given out 8,101 diapers to 117 families with 169 babies and toddlers. So they've been clothed. 51 adults with 85 children have been clothed in the clothing house. And we had 2 special events. We had our Easter giveaway, in which we were able to give out 250 Easter baskets, ham, food to people, families, and 147 people came in for our clothing giveaway. So that's a lot.
And you did those a little differently because of the pandemic. When I was there for my visit, you had a giant tent set up in your parking lot, and you were pre-packaging a lot of this stuff to make it easier to physically give it to your clients.
Yes, absolutely. So we've gotten quite creative. The other thing that a lot of people don't know we serve or have is we call it the pink room. If you have breast cancer, or any cancer for that matter, and you don't have insurance, or your insurance doesn't cover things like wigs, prosthetics, we have those. And that's open to anyone, not just CCAP clients. It is severely underutilized, which makes me very sad because they're very nice. The volunteers who volunteer in that room are very dedicated. And I want to get the word out.
And it's interesting you mentioned that that's open to everyone in the community. CCAP services, though, in particular, is there like an income threshold that people have to meet in order to get any of your services?
The income threshold is 150% of the poverty level. Most programs, we're looking at, again, meeting needs of people who won't make it otherwise. So the ALICE population, you have to be a resident of Frederick County or Winchester City. The only exception is we provide USDA food through the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank, which is a wonderful partner. And The USDA food is available and open to anyone in Virginia, no questions asked. You do not have to be a CCAP member.
That makes it a little bit easier to make sure you're
Yes.
getting food in on the dinner tables of people that need it the most.
Yeah, and I'm really excited because since I've come, the board gave me the directive to start reaching out. We are getting a food truck thanks to Chain of Checks. And that's going to be able to really help expand our mobile food ministry. Right now, we have a community in Mountain Falls, and through that community, we pretty much regularly feed 107 families in Mountain Falls, Shawneeland, and Star Tannery. I have, she's called the community elf, a do-gooder who really kind of reached out to us through one of our volunteers saying, this community needs help. And it's a community that can't necessarily come to Winchester.
Well, I tell you what, let's take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk a little more about food because we did tour the food pantry, and you were telling me before we started recording for the show about a grant that you've recently received or about to receive from the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank, and your vision for what that's going to do to transform that food pantry. Can we talk about all of that in the next segment?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation. We are pre-recording with Andrea Cosans. She is the director of the Winchester Frederick County C-CAP. They are located on Kent Street. The Cork Street end of Kent Street, I think, is the easiest way for people to understand. We'll get the directions, the address, and more information from her when we come back in just a couple of minutes.
Got a financial decision to make or a goal to reach, but you don't know where to start? You've come to the right place. Introducing Quick Money Chats with the Northern Shenandoah Valley Financial Education Program. Visit tinyurl.com/quickmoneychat to schedule a virtual chat with a staff member or trained volunteer. We won't tell you what to do, but we will give you the tools you need to choose wisely. And because Virginia Cooperative Extension is part of Virginia Tech and Virginia State, your land-grant universities, you can be sure that our information is credible and trustworthy. And you'll know that we aren't trying to sell you something. Maybe you want to improve your credit score, or reduce your banking overdraft fees, or even figure out if you can afford to buy that car. Sorting through tons of information on the internet can be overwhelming, and sometimes it can be hard to know who to trust. Schedule a Quick Money Chat and get the information you need to take action. Go to tinyurl.com/quickmoneychat and get financial education personalized for you.
Welcome back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Monday. As you are listening to the show today, we are pre-recording our conversation with Andrea Cosans. She is the director of the Winchester Frederick County C-CAP. And Andrea, when we went to break, we were talking about the food portion of this list of services that C-CAP offers to residents in the city of Winchester and Frederick County. And I mentioned too that I had the privilege of taking a tour a few weeks ago of the food pantry. Tell me what kinds of things you keep stocked in there and what does it look like?
So we keep non-perishables, canned foods, box foods. We also have the capacity to keep frozen meats, chicken, fish, beef, pork. We have vegetables, produce, cakes, pastries coming out of our ears. And what it looks like is, it looks like a very utilitarian room with aisles. The building is cinder block, so it just looks like it used to be, I believe, an old motorcycle shop and then some kind of gas store, oven store. So, it's not the most friendly, conducive environment. And I am so excited because I got a capacity building grant from the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank, for which I thank them so much. With this grant, we are able to expand our capacity to bring fresher food, healthier food. So I'm getting a cooler. I'm getting actually 2 coolers, one to replace a cooler that's dying. I'm getting a pallet jack which will make moving large pallets of food around much easier and organizing much easier. But I'm also getting the ability to turn a very utilitarian room into a farmer's market food vibe. So I'm able to buy shelving and bushel baskets, paint to make this look poppy. And I'm really excited because ultimately all of CCAP, and CCAP's run by volunteers, with the exception of me and the cleaning lady, it is no one else is paid. So it is their compassion, their dedication, and this is how it's been run for years and years and years. And so we want to continue to talk about bringing dignity and respect to our clientele who very often don't get that. And so by being able to turn this into a place where I could shop, you shop, and they can't because they don't necessarily have the resources, we're bringing dignity and respect. And a lot of people say, well, the environment doesn't matter, but environment does. So often these people hear, I don't care. You know, a lot of social service nonprofit programs are stuffed into buildings like ours, which are kind of an afterthought, or, you know, no one else wants them. So yeah, this is a good thing because nonprofits don't have money. And by showing people that you care, by making the environment as nice as possible, brings dignity and respect.
One of the things that you mentioned during your presentation to us for United Way, and you mentioned it in the first segment as well, are the number of partnerships that you have created. Is that how you get a lot of the food that goes into this pantry? I remember during the tour you mentioned that you were hoping to be able to transform the food pantry. You have an Eagle Scout who is going to help you with some of that transformation. How do you bring these people together, and who are they?
I have been very lucky in that CCAP has a lot of friends. It's been an agency that's been recognized in the community forever. It's started in the early 70s. And so just the staying power allows that partnerships. The Eagle Scout came from a troop that really kind of adopted CCAP and has done many things. I'm going to probably get it screwed up, but I think it's Troop 1. And then I went out and the board directed me, hey, you need to reach out, you need to build partnerships. That has started before I came on board, but our partners are Highland Food Pantry, Rescue Mission, Salvation Army, Sinclair Medical Clinic. There's really too many to mention, and I don't want to insult somebody by forgetting them. But I will partner with anyone because, you know, as resources get tighter, by being able to figure out what we do right, where the duplication is, who does something better than us, and how we can support them is really important, because grant sources are looking for that kind of partnership. So for example, Watts and I have formed a partnership because they have the capacity, knowledge, and skills to do homeless programs better than CCAP. CCAP has a compassion and the history for that, but we don't necessarily have those skills. I can't hire case managers, Watts can. And so by being able to support them with providing clothing for the homeless, providing the tents when Watts isn't open, or providing, we're talking about working where I can provide money so they can get IDs. And I let them know about an agency called Vital Check. So that kind of partnership, back and forth talking, really kind of helps the client, because they're not CCAP's client, they're not Watts clients, they're citizens in need of Winchester, Frederick County. And by realizing that and not competing, you can actually get more done for the clients. And that's what it's all about.
You mentioned earlier, too, in the first segment that all of the services that CCAP provides to its clients are free. And I know that while they're free going out the door, they don't necessarily, that doesn't mean that they're free coming in the door. So there are still things that you have to pay for. How have you been managing fundraising during a pandemic? I'm guessing you can't have a lot of events to raise money.
No, and CCAP has a long history of relying on its churches and organizations partners to get money. I think Chain of Checks was the first big fundraiser in a while. I know we've never gone for an impact grant, and we've started by hiring an executive director. That's part of the package. I don't want to rely on the kindness of the churches and our organizations, our individuals. I'm incredibly grateful for them, but let's lift the burden. And so I've written grants, the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank, United Way. I hope to write the grant for the Cochrane and the Reese and whatever else comes my way. There's a really exciting fundraiser coming up. And I wrote a request for quote for Frederick County Parks and Rec, and they have partnered with me along with Blue Ridge Area Bicycles, Element Sports, and Winchester Wheelmen, the local bike club. And we are getting a benefit bike ride August 28th. I'm so excited about that. There's been a couple sponsors so far. Valley Health has agreed to sponsor us, Tire Outfitters, NV Hair Design and Concepts, and there are more down the pipeline. And I'm an avid cyclist, so I have harangued all of my friends and fellow bikers to come out. It's really a fun day. There's a 10-mile route for casual cyclists. There's a 20-mile route, a 50-mile route, and for those crazy people, a 70-mile route.
Are you in that crazy people category?
No. I have done 2 century rides, and that's 100 miles. So I've been crazy, but I've seen the light.
I can't even, to me, even 10 miles might be a little too, I couldn't tell you how long it's been since I've been on a bicycle.
So, but I desperately need volunteers to help man. If you want to see silly people in Lycra and really funky bikes, come on out. And that's how CCAP works in general. I have a need, obviously, and always for money donations, and we have a very generous community. I need in-kind donations. Right now, we're taking summer clothes and children's clothes, donations of food, and Blue Ridge Area Food Bank provides the majority of our food, but we also have individuals and organizations provide food. So for example, Serene Taxes every year during tax season, if you bring in a can of food, they'll give you a break on doing their taxes. Church of Latter-day Saints gave us 13,000 pounds of food last year. And by doing that, I was able to help push out food to Shenandoah Valley Area Agency on Aging. I've worked with CCAP of Front Royal. There's a couple food banks, one in Millwood called Sea Cares, and one in Gore, whose name I forget. There's a lot of horse trading. So I always need food. I always need volunteers. The bad thing about the pandemic, pre-pandemic, we were open 8:30 to 2:30. Monday through Thursday, and then 8:30 to 12 on Friday. And our hours have been greatly reduced because, most volunteers are retired and the pandemic has made them scared, rightfully so. So right now we're open, like I said, 10 to 1 roughly. And I would love to open up more time. I'm excited because I think I have 2 volunteers who are willing to do 2 food pantries twice a month on Saturdays. So I need Saturday volunteers. And that's what I need.
And basically the need and the passion to want to serve your community is all you're looking for in a volunteer. If they can't lift heavy things, that's not a big deal. You just need bodies that are going to smile, be generous, be compassionate, and show up.
Yeah, I have receptionists who can help enter, if you have any kind of computer skills, they can enter new clients. They check them out on the food pantry days. I need finance people, again, full training. We help teach people how to pay bills, how to contact the different utility companies. I do need big heavy lifters for the food pantry, but the food pantry also, you don't need to have a heavy lifter. I have, usually the food pantry runs on a crew of 7. Someone to wipe down carts, someone to push the carts out to the car. Otherwise, the carts don't tend to come back. I have need for clothing house volunteers, sorting clothing. I have need in the sorting room. I have need for front desk, people who are actually greeters. What do you need? And you can give me as little as 3 hours a week, 3 hours a month, whatever.
So where are you located?
We are located at 112 South Kent Street, which, as you mentioned, is basically the corner of Cork and Kent behind Bo's Belly Barn. And those people are really nice and make a mean cup of coffee.
Then I like them already.
Yes, exactly.
And if somebody is listening and they want to get more information, do you have a website?
Yes, we do. I would say we're in the process of revamping the website because it's really not informative. I would say give us a call at 540-662-4318 or come down between 10 and 1, and I am happy to give anyone a tour. I'm very proud of this organization. I'm very proud of the space, even though it gets sometimes crazy, as you know. That whole room is clean. You would not recognize it.
I will tell you that it had been, well, the last time I ever set foot in CCAP, it was still in the basement of the church on Loudon Street. So I didn't really know what to expect when I showed up for the site visit. And I will tell you, that is the one thing that really stood out to me. It was very organized. It was clean. All your volunteers that were there that day were smiling. They were happy to be there. They were grateful. And it really does. I'm not even someone who would be one of your clients, but it just gives you a sense of well-being. So I can just imagine how that has an impact on the people that you serve.
Oh, yeah. I remember Christmas last year, the food pantry wasn't open. A woman was desperate for food. We had gotten gift cards, which is another thing that will take any and all times. Gift cards to Walmart, Martin's. You know where I'm from now. And Target, anywhere. And I gave her $100 Martin card because she was the mom with 4 children. I didn't give it to her. A volunteer gave it to her. The volunteer came into my office and she said, the woman will not leave until she thanks you personally. I was like, but it wasn't me giving it. I don't care. She wants to thank me personally. So it becomes very gratifying. I don't need the thanks. I don't expect the thanks. I've spent, 33 years in public service, nonprofit, social service. So you don't always get the thanks. But the volunteers are always smiling, always want to help.
Andrea, thank you so much for taking some time today to have this conversation with me. I hope the coffers are overflowing as people are listening to this and calling you up saying, okay, I want to write you a check with a comma. That's the goal. Check with a comma, and I want to be in your bike ride. By the way, I think I mentioned to you when you told me about that before that Tony and Chris are going to be on the show with me in May. So I will make sure we plug it again when they come back and do the radio show with me.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. I appreciate it. So another way to help, one final way that I'm going to talk about is CCAP has the opportunity to grow an endowment through the Community Foundation of the Northern Shenandoah Valley Community Foundation. And if I can raise 100,000 by 2023, I have someone who will match 100,000.
Wow.
And so that would help CCAP in good times and bad times, because the idea is you have this fund being managed, growing, kind of like an IRA Roth, and you can skim about 4% off of it yearly, which would greatly help with expenses.
Operational.
Operating
Yeah. Fantastic.
So-
Well, I think we'll have to get you and Larry from the Community Foundation back to do another show and explain how it all works.
That would be wonderful. So thank you so much for this opportunity. I enjoyed it.
Fantastic. I will put links to the website, though it probably may not be your best starting point. I know they have a Facebook page. I'll put that out there too, along with the address, the phone number. Everything is in the show notes page if you go to theriver953.com and click on the podcast tab. I'll be back tomorrow. It is Tourism Tuesday, and I have already recorded tomorrow's show as well. I am so far ahead of the game. It is scary. We are going to be chatting with Justin Kearns from the Winchester Frederick County Convention and Visitors Bureau. We're talking about their new ad campaign called Uncommon to the Core, and we're actually going to chat with one of the people who helped put that campaign together, how it works. We get a peek behind the curtain. Meet me back here for that tomorrow, just a few minutes after noon.